Okay, now we'll see error handling approach to what to do in case of an error.
Sure. Yeah.
The pipeline is missing. Demo error. Okay, so in this approach, we are opening error view for the snaps where we can expect errors to happen, like file reader or mapper or somewhere. We do union all this and we do map the error schema and do whatever the necessary action, email sending, writing a file or writing into some log table or something. In this case, where is if error happens in any other snap where we did not open the error view, it fails as normal.
Correct.
So other approach is to have the error handler open. We need to do error handling for all the snaps that we cannot open. If we can open, but it doesn't look good if we
Correct.
open the error views for all the snaps.
Correct.
So let's do follow another approach where we create another pipeline called error pipeline and route the error data to that pipeline. I will name it as error pipeline under this. I'm creating a new one. Now I will just create a copy of it. I will name it as demo 2 error handling.
Okay.
And in this case, I don't open any error view. I'll close all of them. This is closed. This is closed. Now we expect some errors to happen because of wrong path given in this file.
Correct. Yeah.
So I want to route the error data wherever the error happens in the entire pipeline. Let it route to another pipeline called error pipeline here. First, let's simply create, copy, keep the mapper. Okay, we don't have email sender now working, so I'll just have file name will be error pipeline data. So this is the error pipeline, which is a common pipeline I can use in any pipeline to route the errors.
Right.
All we need to do is go here. Here we can see error pipeline.
Yeah.
We need to select that here. We have error pipeline. Okay. And if the error pipeline is expecting any parameters, we need to pass from here, like a pipeline ID or the pipeline name or the project path or such. Right now I didn't have any. I'll save it. Now it will show you. This will change the default error behavior.
Right.
I will show you where we can find it.
Okay.
Now, if we open any snap, we will see the option changed. route to error pipeline. There is no stop option here.
Right.
That stop option will be removed because this pipeline will not stop.
Okay. So that option is coming dynamically. So as soon as we configure it at the pipeline level to route. Okay.
So wherever the error happens now, error data will be routed to a separate pipeline called our error pipeline, and the execution continues. And we will see this pipeline as completed on the dashboard. So there is no stop option here. So that default option is changed from stop to route to error pipeline.
Right.
So this happens to all the snaps in this pipeline.
Okay.
So you can see here route error pipeline. So now this has become the default option.
Right.
Okay, let's see how it seems. And I also want to add some parameters because I want to make it a generic way.
Correct.
So I need some parameters. What is the pipeline name? What is the runtime ID, etc. Let me add a few parameters. So this is let's take it as normal pipeline. Okay, it requires some parameters. I will add a pipeline name. Let's keep it somewhere. And runtime ID. Keep it. So these two values I need to pass as a parameters to error pipeline.
Correct. Yeah.
So they should be in the generic pattern. Let me first map them here. Runtime ID. Now I need to add the parameters here in the error pipeline parameters.
Right. Yeah.
So my parameters are pipeline name. How can I give the pipeline name? Pipe.label is the function for that.
Right.
You can use any function, or it can be a static value also.
Yep.
Okay, pipe.label
Right.
gives the name of the pipeline. The other runtime ID. Pipe.reuid will give the runtime ID. That's it. I don't need anything else.
Yep.
Save it. The whole thing I can delete also.
Yep.
It is totally disable. Right. Let's keep it. I'm running it. And see on dashboard. Finished. Here we can see when we expand, error pipeline has been triggered.
Right. Yep.
And this shows triggered as error pipeline.
Right.
This triangle alert kind of means it's an error pipeline to identify. Okay, how many documents? Oh, one or one. Okay, here also we put wrong one, right?
Oh, okay.
So 101 documents it received and generated the file with error data.
Yep.
error pipeline data. We can see all
Right. Yeah.
pipeline name, runtime ID, body, and all the 100 records.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
So this way we do work in this kind of pattern when we are having a large number of pipelines and we need a
Right.
common framework.
Yep.
Okay.
But one quick question, not related to the pipeline. Can you click on this edit error pipeline, please?
Okay. Yep.
So I know like when to use key, I mean like the error pipeline parameters and the parameters. This expression libraries is it something like we need to know, or is it the last
Expression.
option?
Yeah, I'll give a brief information about it. Okay.
Okay.
I'll explain what it is.
Yeah.
Okay, so this approach is clear, right?
Yes, I'm clear. Yeah.
Alright.
Yeah, I mean, ideally in any project, I think this would be the ideal case. Like, unless
Right.
like we have a very like simple use case where we do not have much heavy lifting. Otherwise, like it's always good practice to have a common error pipeline. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Okay. One more. We're done with error handling. So we'll see the expression library. What is it
Okay.
and how to work on it? How can we use custom expressions? Now we know we have a wide range of functions which are pre-built, right?
Right.
If we want to keep some expression and use it in the pipelines, we can do it. That's what expression library. This
Okay.
is user-defined expression library. Okay.
Okay.
Let me create a sample file. This is CSV. Okay. Demo expr. Okay. So we need to have the file as expr so that it
Okay.
will understand as expression library file. It
Okay.
is JSON only. You can also keep it JSON. It will also accept it.
Okay.
But as a standard practice, we keep the file name as extension expr.
Okay.
So how do we create custom functions? Let's say I have this file contains file name. Okay. Let me modify it, or let's use a JSON to understand better. JSON generator. Okay, I'm creating the expression file. Just following the JSON.
Right.
So I have a file name.
Right.
Let me keep it source file. Target file.
Okay.
Demo underscore employee records dot some CSV. This is my actual data. So
Okay.
I have given source file name, target file name. That's it. So these are common that I need to refer in some pipeline.
Okay.
Okay. I can have a complex expression also here. I'm just using just to show you how
Yeah.
do we use it. Here we can have a complex JSON script, JavaScript.
Okay. Right.
Okay, I didn't use comma.
Oh yeah.
Okay, this is my file. We have
Yeah.
source file name, target file name. I need to read this file and convert. Okay, this 123 is not there. No? Okay, this is wrong.
Oh yeah.
Target name will be JSON. So our use case is just reading this file, convert to JSON, and write it. That's it.
Right.
For that, we need to refer the file names and the paths in a common location.
Okay.
Okay. I have the source file name, target file name. So now in my pipeline, I have a file reader, CSV parser. I don't need any mapper. Okay. Okay, it's okay to keep mapper. And I need to convert it to JSON and write the file.
Right.
Here, in this case, I need to refer to the configuration file where I have some values to read from.
Yeah.
I will give that path here. I need to select the name of that ex here,
Okay. Okay.
demo.ex here. This is the file where I have custom scripts.
Right.
It can be simple key value pair
Right.
like a normal simple JSON, or it can be
Right.
some complex expression. And what is the alias name I need to refer here? Like
Okay.
how we do alias in the in SQL. So
Right.
we
Right.
need to give the alias name. Like let me give like a config. Okay, to refer to the values present in the EXPR, I need to use the syntax as lib dot the alias name. Lib is a common. Okay, this means we are telling the snap that read the file from an expression library file.
Right.
And one more, we can have multiple files, multiple EXPR.
Okay.
Okay, for all of them, we need to give unique alias names.
Okay. So, like, can I interrupt you for a second? Like, so
Yeah,
can we use this particular functionality? I'm just asking out of my curiosity. So, irrespective, when like I have my variables, meaning like I have to connect to some target system where I have
yeah,
parameters which differs across the environments. Meaning for QA, I have for
right.
dev, I have some variables, and QAs I have some variables, and production I have some variables in terms of.
Yeah, in
So
that
is
case,
this
we
the
use it.
okay?
We usually suggest for that one.
Okay, so even
But
like even for the connectivity, like my target access key and credentials are different across the environments. So is it the
right,
right way to do it? Like you guys do in the same way here?
no, we do not recommend to keep credentials or such values, confidential values in the XPR. Because
Okay,
EXPR we keep on SLDB, right?
right, right. Oh yeah, yeah.
Here files means SLDB. So we should
Right,
not
right.
keep any confidential values in any of these files.
Okay,
There
because we
should be
don't
some
have the
basic
control.
or the metadata, but not the actual data.
Okay,
So it is good to keep some common values
right.
which should be used in many pipelines within the same environment,
Okay,
within the same project or same project space or the same environment where multiple pipelines have to refer it to get the
right.
value instead
Okay,
giving any. And sometimes some values we need to pick, right? And let's say some an email ID, okay,
yeah,
some DL, okay. When we are using, let's take an example like error handler. Yeah, in our error pipeline, let's assume we are sending an email,
right,
okay, here, and for that we need to send email to our some set of people.
right,
This is common to all the error pipelines in all the error scenarios within the environment. There can be several pipelines.
right,
So there should be some central location. If
right,
I keep some the list in some location where I have the common
right,
area, all the pipelines can refer. I can keep that in the file expr. So in all the pipelines where expr can refer to, simply keep that value. So
yeah.
it always goes there and pick the value. So
It's
in
so
case
easy
if
of
we need to
maintenance.
change something, we don't need
Yeah,
to go on each and every pipeline to do the modification.
makes sense. Yeah, yeah,
So this is a common. Since we call like this as a pipeline parameter, right?
yeah. Right,
This means the value that we set here, the key we define here, can be used in any of the snaps within this pipeline. Right?
right,
Same way, this is like a global parameter. I want to make some parameters to be available at a global level, and so that any pipeline in any project within the same environment can refer
right,
to. So that's like a global parameter.
right.
This is like a class parameters in
Yeah,
Java
yeah.
language.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, yeah. That's clear.
So where did we do it? So I put this value. List type does not have a method. Okay, it should not be list actually. When I created a file, it created as a list. It
Oh,
should
okay.
not be. So we need to modify that file. Here there's no feasibility to modify that file. It should not be in an array. Okay.
Yeah.
It can be, but we need to write some expression like we need to extract that and read that. Okay. I will download and edit the file. Okay, I did that modification. I'll upload it.
Yeah.
Overwrite. Now we can see it is validated. So I added a new value called extracts. So let's assume we have multiple sources, multiple source files to read and convert to JSON and write.
Okay.
So all multiple will have in an array. I created an array. So extracts is an array. So we split this array. This is called extracts. Let's split it. Here we have only one. In real time, we can have multiple. So that
Right.
multiple files can be read and simply keep it there.
Yeah.
So I'll use JSON splitter to make them separate records, objects, extracts, and then read it.
Yeah.
Now we read the source file from dollar. And here, since I did not make it a simple one, okay, I cannot find a target file name easily. I need to extract from the file, from the expr array. Instead, I can simply do copy of it. Let's use a new name. Now we have the required data. Okay, instead of this, we need to use join. Here I've got source and target file names along with actual data. I need to
Right.
remove this to be returned to the file. So to do that, let's keep the target file name first. The actual data we will keep like data. I'm creating an object and inserting actual data into this, and the other metadata like source file name. We don't need a source file name, we need target file name. Target file name should not be written as a data element. Okay, so this target file name we will select as a binary header here. And here in the content we select data. So we are separating it.
Yeah.
This target file name will select right here. That's it. Somewhere it failed. Target name is undefined. Okay. Instead I need to use one. Okay, done. File has been written. Let's look at the name of the file. You can see demo employee records successfully written to all the 100 records. More than 100, 500 records we have in the file total. So here we did not see the metadata or source file name or target file name, since
Right.
we are writing only the actual data and the data object.
Right.
This is a use case where we use the expression library.
Yeah. Yes. Good.
Okay. That's it about it. Hope this is clear.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm good with this.
And okay, we are done with this topic.
So in general, I'm going back to my previous question, just asking,
Yes.
just for my understanding, like, let's say I'm connecting to SAP, okay, and
Mm.
I have some credentials, and I have created my, my account for the SAP for the dev environment, and then I have my QA. I mean, like when it comes to when I'm moving the moving my pipelines to higher environments, whether it's a QA or production. So will I
Mm.
be creating accounts specific to each environment, or like will
Right.
I be okay?
Accounts always should be different between the production and non-production
Okay, okay.
in
So
real time.
okay, and but when we are moving the pipeline from dev to QA,
Mm.
so every time like I have to select the QA pipeline like manually when I'm deploying it in QA, and when I'm deploying it in production, I have to choose manually which account I have to choose.
Right. We need to.
Oh,
And
okay,
one
that's
thing, one easy thing is that when we are selecting accounts, that is
okay.
one way. Another way, if we do not want to do any modifications in the production once deployed,
Right. Okay,
it is good to keep account names here. Account names usually should be the same across all the environments. When I say
correct.
Redshift, right?
Right.
Redshift, I'm connecting to some employee database.
Okay,
Okay, Redshift EMP should be the account name. So this
Okay.
the account name should be the same in all the environments. In that
Right.
case, we keep Redshift account here, okay, and refer this in the pipeline.
Okay.
So when it goes to production, you don't need to modify anything.
Okay. Okay.
This
Makes
is one
sense.
of the standard process.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, that's good to know. Okay.
Yeah. Or if you want to keep all the accounts in the EXPR,
Okay.
you can refer to in the EXPR.
Yeah. But again,
But
like as you said,
accounts
like
it is okay to keep only in the parameter
yeah,
because if you keep in the EXPR, it will be a large number of list, right?
yeah, yeah,
Account
yeah,
will have a lot of accounts.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, so I'll just ping me asking for the meeting link. I think he missed the link here.
Hi, Sunil.
Hi, Joel. I'm just looking at your message now and looking for the link.
I was been
I tried reaching you just before we begin. So we continued since you may be busy.
yeah,
Okay. So we discussed about error handling in the last session. How to use pipeline. That's very important in real time. How do we use pipeline executor use? I think you were here, right? 13th.
yes,
Yeah. So we discussed about one more approach with the pipeline execute snap, where we use batching the whole volume of data, and error handling approach one. Error handling approaches are two. We discussed one in the last session and one in today's session, the second one. Okay, and we also discussed about EXPR expression library file. When do we use it and how do we use it? EXPR file. This is a custom expression library file we define. Okay. Anyway, you can refer to the recording. Okay. And do you have any questions, Suhel? In the previous session, we might be doing some practice.
no, Sunil. So no, it's going good.
Okay. Yeah, if you have anything, feel free to ask. Okay, we're almost finished. Okay. And let me give you some introduction about Ultra because that's one theoretical topic. And we will discuss about the best practices. Then we'll finish. Ultra, we have discussed about the scheduled tasks. The type of automated jobs are three. We discussed about scheduled task and the trigger task. One more task is Ultra, which is always on running. It's a big topic again. I'll give you a brief introduction what it is about. Okay, Ultra is always on running. When we start Ultra task, we see it always appear on this dashboard running. Okay, there are two types of Ultra. How do we create Ultra pipeline? There, it is having some rules and restrictions to follow in some snaps. Yeah, here it is. So Ultra is ideal for real-time integrations where we do not have much latency. Right? We require business critical integrations, like when order is customer placed an order, it should be immediately produce an acknowledgement or it should immediately show up the bill or invoice in that kind of integrations. we use Ultra to reduce the latency, and also it is different between the event-driven and the real-time. When I say event-driven, we use trigger tasks. When certain event happens, some actions are a series of actions to be performed. In that case, we use trigger task. Okay, the consumer application will call our trigger API, SnapLogic API. So pipeline will initiate and then process. Here there will be some latency each time when a trigger has to happen. And your load or the traffic is going higher than the normal one. In that case, you need low latency in the event-dependent executions. So it has become real time. The data to be processed within a few seconds without any latency, or without any loading time or something. So we keep that as an Ultra. Ultra waits for the input data to be received. It's always running. Okay, whenever there's a data present, it will immediately process it without any delay, without any holding in the execution, pipeline execution. And it has some guidelines that we need to follow. Here we can see implement web services integration that require sub-second response times and support a combination of document or also the binary input and output use. An error handling mechanism can also be implemented for Ultra pipelines. And supports high availability. And there's another feature in the Ultra. High availability configurations are present. If I show how do we create Ultra
So
here.
does it mean by default Ultra pipeline requires a different configuration than normal pipelines? Sorry.
Not different, just
Okay.
a few actions we need to take. Okay.
Okay.
I will tell you one by one what we need to think about when we design a pipeline to create an Ultra task. Let's say I've created this pipeline. Okay. This is done. Okay. I wanna use it as a trigger task. Okay. This is having some input view. Okay. That's good. Without having any output view. So I made it. If I create this trigger task, it will become synchronous trigger task, right? And if I create schedule task does not have any restrictions. It simply executes it, right? There's no not like no support for some snaps like kind of. Trigger task supports any pattern. Sorry, schedule task supports any pattern. Trigger task supports defined patterns where we should not have more than one input view or more than one output view. These kind of things we need to take care when creating trigger task. So when it comes to Ultra, we need to follow more guidelines. One is that we should not use any batching snap in the Ultra pipeline. Right now, if I create Ultra task, it fails because I have some batching snaps in my pipeline. What is that? Here, JSON formatter. So Ultra task does not support batching because it is the purpose of Ultra is to have low latency and a streaming process, right? JSON formatter does not do streaming. It waits until the whole data is given by the previous snap. So it keeps the execution on hold. So such kind of snaps are not supported in Ultra, like sort snap, aggregate snap, JSON formatter, CSV formatter. They do not support. In case if we have the necessity to use, we can keep it pipeline execute snap and pass on the data to child pipeline. Okay, let's see the options now. SnapLogic these are common for all these, and here we will see instances. How many number of parallel instances the Ultra can run? If it depends on the load, okay, load of your integration. If you expect, like if your business is more and the data is more, you need a more faster response. You can have the default is 1. Okay, you can have 10. You can have 100 also. So 100 pipeline instances will be executing on dashboard. Okay, how do we pass data to it? That's another question. Okay, there are two ways. This is like a barrel token. How do we use for trigger task? This is common. And maximum failures. If it receives, if it fails these many number of failed executions, task will be disabled automatically. Max in flight means how many records or the API calls in the queue. It follows a queue mechanism, right? So it is just to have the executions in the queue. We'll see how do we pass the data. So there are two types of ultra pipelines. One is that it will have an unconnected input view, and it must have an unconnected input view in the type 1. Same like a trigger task. Okay, it waits for the data to be passed from the trigger caller through our triggers API. Whatever the application consumes that API and sends some data in the body, API call body, it will consume it and then process it, and it must have one unconnected output view. So it will pass the response back to the caller. Okay, in this case, there is a special type of node called feed master. It acts as a load balancer. It takes feed from the API consumer. Okay, let's say our integration is having heavy data, right? Heavy traffic. So feed master takes it, the whole load, and balances the load and distribute the request, incoming API request across the nodes within the same snapbox. Just like a load balancer. Takes the feed from the API calls and distribute it to the available nodes. This is one way. Another way is always on, which means no unconnected input view or the output views. Everything closed. In this case, this is general practice and ideal when we are connecting to any message queuing system. It can be Kafka or ActiveMQ or any other message queuing system. In that case, we do not have to pass any data to it. It will establish a connection to the message queue system. For example, we have Amazon SQS. I think you may have an idea what is Amazon SQS. It's a message queuing service from Amazon. And from Azure, it is Azure Service Bus. It's a message queuing application. And Kafka. Kafka. Kafka is most popular message queue data streaming application. So we connect to this, the queue, whenever data present in the queue, it will immediately pick and then process. If I say consumer, okay, consumer will connect to SQS queue. Okay? Whenever a message is placed, whatever the application, it can be any application. If I show better here, okay, so this is my MQ application, message queue. Let's assume I'm using Kafka. So this, I have multiple applications running in my business. Send data to this through web forms, some Java applications or C++ applications, whatever. They send the data to the Kafka queue. In Kafka terminology, it is called a topic. Topic. They produce data to Kafka topics. There can be multiple Kafka topics. I have multiple topics here. So it depends on the application or the business category. It produces message to different topics here. So we created Ultra task for that. Our Ultra I created to connect to this topic. Whenever let's say this is an e-commerce site, whenever there's a customer order placed, it sends the message to Kafka topic here. In that message, it will mention like what is the customer name, what is the list of orders in that, the list of items in that order, and the total amount, everything. And Ultra, whenever there's a message placed here, Ultra will immediately process without any delay. There will be delay of few milliseconds between this message placed and this, because it does a continuous polling of it. Hope you're following me.
Yes, yes.
This is way beyond. If I go, it will take 3 to 4 hours to explain the complete Ultra. But to give you more detailed understanding, so this is how Ultra works.
I can correlate. Thanks. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So that's the type 2 Ultra, where we do not, nobody has to trigger it through API. Okay. In this case, we do not need to call any API. Only thing is that it is always in connection to the message queue and do continuous polling. Polling will be, I think, every 5 minutes, like that. It depends on the configuration here. All these are configurations. There will be many settings, depends on the application. For Azure Service Bus, processing mode, synchronous, asynchronous, it totally depends on the application. And I say Kafka has more advanced features. Here. Yeah, we will have message count and everything. So this is what Ultra about. Okay, we will also have different tools, okay, which SnapLogic offers actually. And by the way, Ultra is a premium feature. It does not come by the standard license. Clients have to subscribe it for Ultra feature. The same way, API management is another subscription feature. API management is another tool from SnapLogic. It's same like APG, Gravity, or any other API management tool. And SnapLogic has recently launched one more tool called AutoSync that we can see here. AutoSync. This is also a subscribed tool. I think right now they are giving just for a demo. Okay, now let's see the best practices, few guidelines that we need to follow. Okay, limitations and best practices. These are a few. I think we already discussed the number of things, the standards we need to follow in the real-time environment. And beyond that, there are a few more. Okay, let's talk about limit. Okay, there are some scenarios where people call the same pipeline via pipeline execute snap. There can be that kind of scenarios. That is not recommended. I can keep a pipeline execute snap, okay, calling some other pipeline. If I keep the same pipeline as parent, it goes to infinite loop, right?
Correct.
Some cases we can route it based on some parameter or some value, but it has a limit of 64 iterations. Okay, of course it is not recommended because this loop occupies more of CPU and node resources, RAM, CPU resources. Okay, that's one thing. And when we are using trigger your task, okay, if we are calling the trigger task from on-premise, it is recommended to use on-premise URL rather the cloud URL. I think I showed when we create a trigger task.
Yeah, it's generating both.
It generates two. Yeah, it generates two URLs. One is a cloud URL, other is on-premise. So this can be directly connected to your system, your SnapLogic node. So if you are both consumer and caller, both in the same organizational network where we have the direct connectivity, it is better to use this to avoid some latency. If the consumer is some third-party application out of your network application or cloud application like Salesforce or NetSuite, then we should use cloud URL. This will, using on-premise URL to call from the same network will avoid some latency. Okay, and set the batch size in email sender Snap to avoid sending several emails individually. I think when I talked about email sender, I mentioned about it. So it is always recommended to use HTML table when we are using email sender, because if we pass more number of, let's say, 10 records to email sender, it will generate 10 emails. It sends 10 emails by default. If we use HTML table option there, it will list out all in the table and send only one email. That batch size we can set in the email sender now. I think I showed it. Email sender. Here HTML table. Here the batch size. So for each 100 documents from the input, it lists out all the data in the table format and sends only one email. Okay. Below. And naming convention. So in real time, it is good to have a standard naming convention when we are following in the pipelines. So usually pipelines contain the source and the target and the descriptive way. Let's say I'm using this integration to connect to Salesforce. Okay, source is Salesforce and the target is Redshift. And to do some word description like batch load. This is a standard naming convention, pipeline naming convention. And if it is a child pipeline, it is always good to keep underscore C to identify what is a parent, what is a child easily. Or instead of C, we can keep some descriptive way, what is the child about, like mapping. Okay. Okay, and it is always recommended to use labels for the snaps, what it does, each snap, like the mapper, okay, or let's say file reader. Instead of the default name, I can keep read file from S3, like that. to each snap. Other is use Ultra pipeline, which we already discussed. For low latency integrations, it is recommended to use Ultra to be more efficient and faster solution. And it is important to maintain pipeline versions. When we are modifying any pipeline, it's good to keep a version of it here. So now I'm done with the pipeline development, and it is moving to QA. Okay, I'll mention like tested and moving to UAT. And in UAT, we can keep like UAT finished and moving to production. This way, when we are modifying next time due to any changes in the pipeline, we will see the previous version, what are the changes to do and what were done earlier. We can create number of versions for a pipeline. Okay. And set alert notifications for pipeline events and tasks. We already discussed when we create a task, we keep the notification alerts. Sometimes people miss it, and when the pipeline fails, it does not send any notification. Later, we realize that the pipeline failed. So it is always good to keep at gmail.com. Then it gives when to send an alert when a pipeline failed or stopped, like this. It is always recommended to keep email notifications. Okay, and this is now not present. We can remove it. All right, I think this is clear. Any questions, Naveen? Well,
Yeah, it's good, Sunil. Only one thing is, I would like to ask one question, which is, um, I would like to practice for this week, and maybe like this is my view. Maybe Sohail, please you can add your points. After a week, maybe coming weekend, we'll have one session. I mean, if where I'll consolidate if I have any questions during my practice or in my understanding anything. One session would be really great. Sunil.
Okay.
Absolutely, I agree with that.
Yeah, sure. Then we can have one session maybe next weekend.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll consolidate my questions, whatever it is, and
Sure. Yeah. Okay. We can have evening session, Sunday evening session in our time. It is good to have. That's okay. Anything else? And I would like to know how do you feel about the whole training and the topics, or any feedback you would like to give me?
from my end, it's absolutely great, Sunil. Like I have no idea before I joined this session about SnapLogic, but now like I was able to correlate things the way you are explaining things. So this overall is very good.
Okay, thank you. And Suhail, do you have anything?
Yes, as an analyst, actually, I would like to say, like, although had some instance about this snap logic, the things running behind, I was totally unaware, and this is training helped me out in the API calls and all those stuff. As mentioned, I have to do some more hands-on on these stuff, like connecting with various
Yeah,
orgs and like
yeah,
yes, all those.
and you can do certifications. I suggest everybody to
Yes,
do the
the
free
free
certification.
certification.
Yeah, the free one you can register for that, and when you finish that video module, you will be having the exam. to finish. It is having 3 levels. Okay, we need to finish all 3 levels to get passed, to get the certification. Since you're now completely aware of what is what, and there will be some questions about some DB snaps and some expressions. Apart from that, everything what we covered will be in the exam assessment. So you
You
will
mean
be
for
able to
the
answer most of the
basic,
questions.
okay, you mean for the to become a certified developer kind of thing?
Right, yeah.
Okay.
I think I showed right initially.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Where to find it. It is in the resources. You go to here. You can register for the certification. This one. This
Yeah,
is a
man,
free
these
one.
are like expensive, man. Like like definitely, it's
Yeah.
not like.
Right. So yeah, this is the only. This is just like a basic beginner one for accreditation, and this is the integrator, which is the most important. The integrator one is the expensive one, 995. So developer, this may not be required 99% of the time. Nobody requires it unless we do have to do some custom snaps development, which is purely depends on the JavaScript. And architect is the top one. So administrator is another one. Okay, and I did I cleared all of this.
Okay. So
So you can
usually
register.
like in other integration platforms, like usually like there will be like meetups and where we'll get some coupons to give these certifications. Do we get similar coupons?
Not actually, but for workshops and things, you can register here.
Okay.
They did host some workshops. You can find it. The events and webinars.
Okay.
So I think this month they have multiple. November 2nd, you can see automate with SnapLogic SAP integration, SAP ERP. And right now this is in progress. This was started beginning this month. Okay, integrate world tour. So they are going to have webinars and events planned in different countries and different cities. So we can see the complete plan when it's going to be in India. Okay, EMEA, Paris, North America, Japan. Okay, it's not in India. Okay, in all these. If you wanna attend any nearby location, and if this is nearby, Dallas.
Yeah, both of neither New York or Dallas are far away from me, but still,
Okay,
we
okay.
will see.
If you register,
Yeah.
you can attend the event. And they also do conduct some workshops here. You see.
Yeah.
This is like a limited number of seats. If you would like to register, you can register now.
Okay. Yeah.
They won't be like more than 50.
Okay.
When the registrations reach 50, they'll
Okay.
okay. On November 15 on SnapLogic AWS in Toronto. And this is in Cincinnati. I don't know where it is.
Yeah, Cincinnati. Yeah. It's nearby, near to me actually.
Okay, then you can attend this one on November 10th. And this way we find all the webinars and events they organize. Okay. Fine. Anything else you'd like to ask?
I think I'm again, as I said, like I'm good. So we'll come back with couple. Definitely, there might be questions while practicing. So I'll come back, Sunil. And thanks in advance.
Sure, definitely. We can be reachable. And some use cases in real time, if you would like to know, you can find it in the blog. Okay, this blog. And also the community. A lot of people be active in the community, SnapLogic community, to get the questions answered.
Oh, do we have such thing like where I can post any like if
yeah, we discussed initially, I think. Community.
The support is one thing, but okay, there is a community too.
Support we need to reach out. The support is not for everyone, only to the licensed clients. And community is for everybody.
Okay.
Anybody can ask questions, and people do respond.
Okay.
In this community, you can sign up and ask some questions. People ask questions. You see, yesterday somebody posted a question asking some expression how to do it, and people do respond. Some people quickly respond because they do give awards. Okay, to the most contributors. So that's one of the reasons people are more active to help. And that's it. Okay, you can be active in the community to get some questions answered, and you can refer to blog to have some high level idea on any big solutions. Okay, you want to have some financial solution, okay, or you want to implement some auto sync solution. You can just refer this blog, and you can also refer to SnapLogic YouTube channel to get some idea how to do some patterns. Okay. All right, then let me stop recording.